Word up. Word up. All right. You're muted on the actual streaming end, but you can still hear me on Zoom. I'll let you know. What up, y'all? You live on the family room with your homeboy Trek Life, man. Some of y'all are gonna be jumping in a little later, but we're gonna get right into this conversation. So if you tune in a little late or you catch any of this, kind of pre-roll, pre-discussion, just hop over to YouTube/Trek Life Music for the replay of this interview. I try to get that up the very next day. So we just got to get into it, man. So let me just go and pay some bills real quick and get some clarification going for those of y'all who don't know what's up. My name is Trek Life. This is the Family Room, sponsored by Chief Botanicals. You can use this code, snapbacklive.com/chief. If you use the code snapback, you will get a discount on any Chief Botanical product. So right now I got the Chief Gummies. They're all CBD, all natural. Definitely helps to kind of calm the nerves. I definitely needed at least one before this interview to talk to my homeboy real quick. So please make sure snapbacklive.com/chief and use the code snapback so that you can go and get some of these Chief Botanicals. So what up, y'all? Once again, you are live right now in the Family Room. Today we have a very, very special guest, a friend of mine, good friend of mine. So it's going to be kind of difficult to act like I don't know this dude. We've toured together for years. He's dropped, I can't even count the amount of projects my man has dropped. He's been a mentor, a good friend of mine. We've been through some battles together, some tours together, interesting moments together on tour that we'll also be able to discuss, hopefully. And before I bring him on, I want to make sure that everything is live real quick. This is super live radio or super live Twitch. So let me make sure that everything is live. I am streaming good because that would be a disaster if it wasn't actually, if I was doing all that talking and was not actually live. All right. With all that being said, without further ado, I introduce to you the man, the myth, and the legend. Everybody in the place to be. What up to the homeboy Oddisee? What up, bro?
What's up, man?
My man, I appreciate this. Now, for those of y'all who do not know, Oddisee does not do any work on Saturdays, so this is a favor.
100. I appreciate you understanding that, man.
So we talked a little bit before, but how's the family doing, man? How's everything going, on that side of things?
Everybody's good, man. Everybody's good. Aziz is upstairs watching TV. I put Zaina to sleep at exactly 9 p.m. It was amazing. Told you earlier, like, I'm winning today. Like, heavy pat on the back. Like, it was like, boom, movie time, dinner time, pajama time, bath time, brush the teeth, in the bed, book time, sleep, 9 o'clock. Came out here, was ready to go. I'm boosted right now.
For sure. This is a super dad moment. You get your dad points for the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Word. So here's the first thing, man. Just first things first. We just talked about how you haven't released a record for 3 years, but that's not what I want to get into just yet.
Okay.
You're an artist that tours constantly, right?
Yeah.
Generally
sure.
touring for a larger portion of the year than most other artists or a lot of other artists.
Sure.
COVID hits.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind? Like, what's the first thing that goes through your mind when you realize that touring is shut down, travel is shut down? What's the first thing that comes to mind, man?
What other opportunities will this create was the first thing that came to my mind.
Word. All right. So what I'm trying to think of what other opportunities. Like, as a person who tours, like, the live show is extremely important. The band, good company is well known on the tour circuit. So, like, this, I'd imagine it's not the entire bread and butter because that wouldn't make any sense. I know you well enough to know that, but I know that it is a large part of the scheme.
Sure.
So were you like shocked? Was it like, ah, man, I got to change the whole pitch up? Like, how did it work?
Man, I've always, me, I've always had like a couple things that I'm working on, a couple different hustles, and you never know when one of those things are going to express itself and become dominant and necessary.
Right.
But they're always there. So I've always been releasing records, touring, music licensing. And when my daughter was born in 2017, it was at that point where I said, you know what, eventually I want to slow down and stop touring so much. I need to find ways to diversify my income and supplement it. And I think I need to stay home more and do more music licensing. So I started, I've always had, a few songs licensed a year for commercials, TV, film, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I started proactively pursuing it in 17. Fast forward to COVID in 2020, I'm doing a lot of that. So
Nice.
that just requires me to just stay home.
Word. All right. So that was the immediate switch up, and you were already prepared for it. So that's dope. Fatherhood and rhyming, which
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an automatic. You know what I'm saying? I'd assume a major adjustment again for a touring artist. What's been the difference, man? The difference be pre-fatherhood as a touring artist and post-fatherhood as a touring artist.
Actually missing a human being when you're gone on the road to enough to make you depressed, enough to bring you to tears. So like
Wow.
I'm like I got emotions that I never knew I had. Like, bro, I'll be somewhere touring and I'll be at some hotel. I'll never forget the last time it happened. I was doing a show in Switzerland off of Lake Geneva, and I stayed in this hotel overlooking the lake, and it was a beautiful hotel. And in the lobby to the side, they had a playroom and a built-in playground for children in the hotel. Bro, I stayed at this hotel 3, 4 times in my touring career. This time I was like, oh my God, Zaina would love this. I gotta bring the girls back.
I feel like I remember that. Was that the one we stayed at years ago, the family-owned one, or is this a different one?
No, not. What's that? What was his name? His name was Laurent. No,
Word.
not his. It was because he was in Lausanne, but we were somewhere
Word.
else on the lake, not too far from Lausanne, though.
Okay, word.
Yeah, yeah,
That's crazy. I remember just on my side of things, I remember my first tour when Sarai was born. And it was
yeah.
very similar. Like I just kept thinking, yo, she would love this. She would love this.
Mm-hmm.
She would love this. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, I've never asked you this as a friend. I'm really curious. Did you travel this much before touring, like, or travel a lot before touring as an MC? I know the stories about your mom's taking you to the museums around the way because you know what I'm saying your mother's a history buff. If I'm correct, if I remember that correctly,
Yeah,
and your
for
father's
sure.
from Sudan, so there was
Yeah.
always a family overseas. Did you guys
Right.
travel a lot, or did you travel a lot prior to touring? Is you know what I'm saying, or did the traveling begin there?
Um, I traveled often, not nearly as often as touring, and I traveled often to the exact same place.
Okay,
So 3 months of the year I was spent in Sudan,
okay,
and getting to Sudan between ages 6 and 8 years old when I was going back and forth. Um, Sometimes I'd always have to connect in Europe somewhere, and then from Europe I go to the Middle East or I go to Egypt or Ethiopia, and then from there I connect to Sudan. So growing up, it was always Lufthansa to Frankfurt, Frankfurt to Cairo, Cairo to Sudan, or it was KLM to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Cairo, Cairo to Sudan. Then it was Etihad or Emirates to Dubai or Abu Dhabi, there to Sudan, or Qatar Airways, Doha, Doha, Sudan.
word.
So I was going the same places. I was going America to Europe, Europe to North Africa, or East Africa, or Middle East, and then back. And I didn't go anywhere else my whole life.
So the combination of is that what fueled your knowledge of the world? Because you have a very distinct knowledge of the world around you, not just local, not just U.S. knowledge, U.S. understanding. You have a pretty strong global understanding of the world around you, dude. Like it's beyond most people's understanding. Like I've seen you explain things to people that really thought they knew what they were talking about, and you were like, nah, that's not how that works.
Until everybody tells me to shut up, and Kev Brown gave me the nickname Wikipedia Rat. And then I got self conscious. So I'd be seeing people talking about something, and I'm like, oh God, I know something, and I want to say it, and I just don't know more.
We share that in common. My wife calls me know it all constantly. Like it's
Yeah,
one of those
yeah.
things.
I just it's
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm gonna leave y'all in the pool of ignorance. I'm done. I'm out.
We're in the same place. We're in the same place. I'll be like, that is wrong. But you gonna hold this L. I'm not doing it anymore.
Right. I'm not saying nothing to nobody about nothing no more. That's it. Yeah.
Regardless, the knowledge is still there. When
Yeah.
did that begin? I mean, where did that all start?
Um, that started with my father being from Sudan and my mom being Black American from DC. And at that moment, it was like, all right, they speak two different languages. Why? You know, all right, they have two different religions. Why? They eat two different kinds of food. Why? You know, and I just kind of had to grow up in a constant state of why.
Word.
You know, and then you know, whenever I'd run across someone who was like, "Oh, nice to meet you," you know, we're classmates. I'm Ethiopian, or I'm Korean, or I'm Chinese, or I'm Filipino, and then I guess this is what starts to develop my personality. You know, you go over somebody's house, um, and they say, "Take your shoes off," and I'm like, "We do that too."
Word.
I thought that was just us, and then it's like, "Oh no, we do that too." You know, and then you go and you to somebody else's house, and they say, "Oh, in my house we eat with our hands," and I'm like, "We do that too." So I started to become fascinated by why there were so many similarities in the world, but everybody thought that their cultures were unique. So I started learning about everybody's culture.
Word.
Yeah.
All right. Having family on two different continents, how did the family interaction change that thought? I'd imagine it's quite similar, but this is close. These are much closer people. You got cousins on two sides of the world. Were they a lot different? Were their mindsets a lot different? Was it did you have to make a major adjustment when you traveled?
Bro, it was night and day. I had to cut a switch off. You know, it was a Western Eastern switch.
Word.
Things that were okay here were not okay there. Things that were okay there were not okay here. And the only way to cope with it, especially at a young age, was just to accept it. You
Wow.
know, yeah, all kinds of stuff, man. The level of poverty, what people thought poverty was, what people thought wealth was, what people thought entertainment was, what people thought entertainment wasn't, fashion, what somebody thought was cool to dress and wear, what someone thought was ridiculous and idiotic. You know, um, I'm dying to wear a pair of Jordans, and then I go to Sudan with those Jordans, and my cousins is like, "Yo, are you insane? It is 140 degrees outside, and like we wear sandals here."
Wait, like what is designer sandals? Is there like a Jordan level sandal out there? Or is it?
I mean, the sandals like the sandal games are heavy out there. You want snakeskin, python, fucking leopard. Like you want gold buckles, like you want platform. Like what do you want? All right.
I actually saw Fonte credit you on your sandal game.
Listen, Fonte tried to come at me on the low. I'm like, listen, bro, I do this.
I was in tears. I was like, all right.
listen, man, the sandal game is strong out here. All right, I was choosing. I told it. I don't know if you saw my response,
Nah, I
but
didn't see your response.
I was like, this is what happens when you have a father who wears gold buckled white leather sandals in December. You know?
That sounds like the most
Yeah.
boys to men dress code. Like I just pictured, flowing garments in the wind by the beach.
I'll never forget it. My father decided, to revisit his youth, and he went to this club that's no longer open in DC called Republic Gardens.
Okay.
He put on way too much cologne. He had on like a suit, and it was December, and I was like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'm going out with my friends." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, we're going to Republic Garden." I'm like, "Oh my God, you're such an old head. You still going there?" Right? And he gets ready to go outside, and I'm like, Dad, you have sandals on. It's December. You don't have any socks on. You about to go clubbing in December. And they were white leather, high platform sandals with gold buckles. And he's like, yeah, this is it, with a suit on in December.
Wow. The levels
Yeah.
of freshness though. You know what I mean? Sandals in
Changed,
the
it changed
wintertime
me, bro. That day changed me.
just became a whole new person.
I became a whole new person. Yeah.
Yo. Oh, I just a link to your music just popped up. So please make sure you check Oddisee's music on Spotify. The link is right in there in the chat for y'all. So please make sure you do that. You know what I'm saying? Abloon said you styling on him, and I believe that's true. Uh, so let's talk about the music. First of all, I was shocked when you said you hadn't dropped a record in 3 years because there's so much music out that I was like, there's been no hiatus. I mean, no skips, fam. Like, what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you recently dropped Odd Cure. But my bad, I had to adjust sound real quick. So I'm amazed at the volume of music a person can put out.
Yeah.
And to be at a high quality. Like I get if somebody's just dropping stuff over drum beats and and already created. But not only are you're producing, you're of course writing the rhymes. And I will say, this is not a major credit, but I'm gonna start here. Best producer MC, period.
Go ahead.
Period.
Don't bring that type
Period.
of energy
Period.
to me, please.
Period. I understand. I mean, but they could come at me. They don't have to come at you. I
Okay.
said it. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all heard it first. Come at him.
Yeah, come at me. Don't go on Oddisee's, Instagram or whatever talking. I'm the one who said this. And I'm also gonna say this. Creator of other styles out there. I'm not gonna go too deep with that, but creator of styles. And also currently right now, top 10 MC all around. And I'm saying this I'm saying this to get to the volume music. I'm saying it. This ain't on you. Sugar's in the chat. Me and Sugar take care of anybody who got a problem with this statement.
What's up, Shug? I'm very anti-celebratory, and
no, of course.
I don't compare, compete, or rate myself, and I'm not interested in it. I'm fine with anybody else who wants to, but I don't participate in it.
Good, because I'm glad you're fine with it, because I'm doing that right now.
All right, fine. Okay.
But me, on the other hand, we had a conversation a long time ago about putting out, music regularly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How, under any circumstances, are you doing this? Like, do you take a single day off? And then how are you keeping the quality level so high? Because usually when there's a high volume in music, the quality level just starts to dip after a while. So let's get into first, man. How do you take a day off at all? Like, are you creating every day? What's going on?
I take a lot of days off.
How is that possible?
All right, I'm going to answer this question with the question.
Okay.
What is one thing that makes a product better?
It depends on what product we're talking about. Like what type of product?
Anything. Like any product that's been around. Like what's one of the reasons why it's good?
Research and development. Just recognizing what works and recognizing what doesn't.
Time.
Okay. So you're saying the time between making records or the time between?
I'm saying that the amount of time I've been making music in general, every year that goes by is a year that I have to work less to achieve the same thing.
Okay, I understand now. So you have a workflow, work pattern, work ideology. You step into the lab with it and you go from there.
All right. Since 2005, 2006, every time I come across a kick, snare, hi-hat on a record, I chop it, trim it, EQ it, title it, and store it on a hard drive since 2005, 2006. Every time.
Okay.
So whenever I'm trying to make a beat, all right, I got nothing coming out, I'll just listen to records for samples. I'll chop up samples and just make loops, leave them. If I hear breaks, I'll chop up breaks, leave them and create drum patterns, store them in a folder. Then I get this bolt of inspiration and I'm home for like a month. I'm not starting from scratch. I haven't started from scratch for years. There's a whole folder that's just been building itself passively.
Word.
Okay. And that's the key is, all right, me and you out on the road, I see something, it makes me think of a song title. I write the song title down in my notes under song ideas. We're riding a train, we're going somewhere, I'm too tired to make beats, but I'll listen to records and I'll store samples or I'll catalog drums. By the time all of that's finished and I do have that energy and that inspiration, I've got song ideas in place. I've got loops in place. I've got drums in place. I'm throwing everything together. Boom, it's done. People are like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that so fast?
Wow. Yeah, I suppose preparation is the key at this point.
That's it. It's just structure, you know. It's 10 to 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. No work on Saturdays and Sundays.
Interesting.
You
Interesting.
know,
Because I know there are other producers that keep that idea. Like I'm not working overnight. I'm not staying in the lab till 3.
yeah,
I think Pharrell is one of them, right? I think Pharrell is one of the people that refuses to work past 6 or 7 or something like that. So you
yeah,
keep that structure. You keep that level no matter what.
yeah, 10 to 6. And I'll go into that studio some days and nothing comes out. I'll just sit there. I'm like, all right, well, it's just time to just listen to records, catalog stuff. All right, well, I'm bored of listening to records. All right, pull up the camera. Let's go outside, take the tripod, do press shots.
Where
All right, I don't feel like doing press shots. Let's do admin. Let's respond to emails that's been backed up. Let's talk to sponsors. Let's talk to brands. Don't feel like doing that. Let's finally open up some briefs and see what music licensing opportunities out there. Maybe I have a skeleton that I can finish up. Oh, turns out I do. Boom. Go get those drums. We get those folders. Send that in. Great. That's in a commercial now. Oh wow, if that's in a commercial, I should put something like that on my album. Go look at the folder. Anything similar? Throw something like that on the record. And
wow,
it just
man.
creates. It's just an ecosystem.
So this is a whole business operation. Just the idea around it is organized, but the creativity is real.
Yeah, yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, for sure.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So there's a lot of days off, man. Like I guess what I would call. What's funny about that, bro? My wife wouldn't consider it a day off. Um,
We were about to go there, by
but
the way.
yeah, but I would like. I don't need to go on vacation to have a break. Just not going to the studio is enough.
Okay.
But that's because uh, it doesn't feel like work. I guess I get antsy. I can't go on vacation for the limit's 5 days.
Okay.
Where 5 days where I'm doing absolutely nothing that I would consider productive. I start itching at the neck like 5 days. So she likes 10-day trips or more. Period. Like the minimum is 10.
Okay.
So a lot of times I'll fly in and meet them, or I'll leave early, or that the backpack's coming and the headphones, the hard drive, the iLock, the laptop, it's all in there. And at night I'm gonna get it in, and then I'm good. We can stay as long as you want.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
word. That makes sense.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's understandable. Odd Cure just dropped. Speaking of work, um, dropped out of nowhere. This basically hit the ground running. I saw a couple of Instagram posts. Then I saw an album cover, and then I was like, "Oh, the album's out." Well,
Yeah.
actually, I'm gonna go ahead and throw some clout in there real quick. I
You
was
know.
I was sent the record before, and
Yeah.
which is crazy, man, because it asking my opinion on it. I'm the worst person to ask an opinion on a record because I'm just happy that my friends are putting music out. So I'm like, "Yo, this is great. Everything's amazing." Yeah, no,
No, we don't need that.
I
We
know
don't
you
need
don't,
that.
but
I need
it's
I need something specific from you because if I send you a record in advance, that means your opinion is important. But to detail it, your specific opinion, like I have people who I'll send the EP out to specific people. All right, you might be my underground hip hop head. Then there's the progressive friend. Then there's the electronic friend. Then there's the jazz friend.
word.
And I'm hoping that on these tracks, the track that I think will be their favorite is their favorite. And the track that's their least favorite is their least favorite.
I
And I'm
see.
counting on knowing if I nailed it and I appealed to all of my demographics.
So if when I sent back, "Yo, I like the whole record," you was like,
Yeah, it's
"I
like, God
hate you."
damn it. Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that.
I my favorite thing. Look, I called you and said my favorite thing on the record was the conversation with your mother. That was all the record was
Yeah,
banging, but the conversations with your family were the part that I was really into because that's what people are doing right now. They're calling, they're
yeah,
checking on their
yeah.
family, they're trying to see if everybody's okay, and then they're having these conversations with them like pepper spray. Well, why you need pepper spray? Like, so Um,
Bro, I didn't even factor that. I was so shocked when the skits on this album got such appreciation. I didn't really like think that they would be as moving as the music to people. That one I didn't count on. I didn't count for that one.
oh, they
Yeah,
definitely are. I mean, of
yeah,
course, the music always stands for itself. But if you purchase an Odyssey record or you've been following your career long enough, you know you're going to be satisfied with the art. You know what I'm saying? The conversations were on point. So, I mean, what brought that about? Were these? I know they were all unscripted, right? I'd imagine they were
yeah.
all
All
unscripted.
unscripted. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you just did you holler at various people and see which ones made it, or did you have a plan on who to speak to?
I call specific people. Yeah,
Okay,
I recorded no more or no less than the people who made it onto the album.
okay, word.
Yeah. I wanted someone. I wanted a friend who wasn't related, who lived far away. And more importantly, I wanted people who I knew reflected circumstances that everybody was in.
Word.
The flight restrictions are going to affect people who have family abroad. I had a homie who, call homie skid. He just got a job in the Bay Area, paying him like 30% more than he was making in New York when his family relocated.
Yeah,
And and then 2, 3 weeks later, after starting that job, he lost that job.
that
I
was
was
crazy.
like,
That
I
was a
am,
crazy
yeah,
conversation.
like I was like, he is a representation of what people are going through. I need to speak to him. So talking to an elderly person who's high risk, intentional. Talking to my mom who's an essential worker, intentional. Talking to my dad who lives in a foreign country, intentional. Talking to a homie who just got a job, lost it, and was looking for work, intentional. Calling a manager about to show people what musicians are experiencing because of COVID, intentional. So everybody was for specific reasons to make sure that I was telling everyone's story on this EP.
That was the most ominous portion of this record. The conversation with the manager, like, "Yo, what's going on?" You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
what's the
yeah,
plan?
yeah,
That's I think that's I know you didn't factor it in like you said, but I do think that is kind of one of the more powerful things about this record. For those of you guys who have not heard it, again, the link is in there. You can check Odyssey's music via Spotify. You can purchase the music via Bandcamp or any other place at this point, anywhere
yeah.
online or what have you. So I'm really more interested in listening to a song like No Skips. All right. Now I know you, so I'm listening to when I listen to your songs, I'm like, okay, I know exactly what he's talking about right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You mentioned being friends with your older friends, and
Hmm.
without going into direct detail, I think one of the things that we lie to ourselves about in this industry is that we don't change over time. I've known you for years. I know you as a
Yeah,
different person or an updated version of the Amir that I met years ago when we were touring for the first time. um,
for
you're
sure.
you're catching up with friends again. You're catching up with the world that you haven't been attached to as much because you've been touring, making music, and focused on the grind. What's different now about you that you bring to that you were bringing back?
What am I bringing back? What's it trying to rekindle
Not
friendships
to
or
rekindle
like?
friendships, but just let me see how I can put this. When we got back off tour, I had had experiences that my friends hadn't had. Matter of fact, my friends weren't even
Yeah,
around. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
By the time I met up with my friends, I was a different person. I had more experience in the world. I had more to bring to conversations. Is that
Hmm.
the same here? Are we catching up with old friends? Just like is it total different? Are they like, yo, I'd stop talking? Like what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Now that you're kind of catching back up, an older gentleman and catching
Sure,
back up.
I got you. I got you. Right now, you know what? Honestly, it's more about listening to people because when I make that reference about wish I was still homies with my older friends, a lot of my older friends aren't semi-public figures like myself,
Word.
where they, even though we haven't spoken, they know exactly where I am most days. They know every tour, they know every city, they know what coffee I drank, what food I ate, they know the birth of my daughter. They know all these things about me because I live publicly. It's so much I don't know about them.
Wow.
And it was about listening to people. You know,
Word.
that was the most important thing to me. That's what I brought to the table, was an experienced ear that could listen to people. You know,
Understood. In listening, what are you finding? What are you finding out about the non-public figure world?
you know what I'm learning. A lot of times, my friends who may have had aspirations and they didn't quite achieve what they wanted to, or life uh, hit them with a fork in the road, or a wall. Um, they think they're missing out on something. They think that life is somewhat better as a musician, or let's say full-time musician.
Word.
And I love having conversations where, when I listen and I catch up, we realize that there's but so many ways to have a problem, you know? And it's like, a boss is a boss, a manager is a manager, a bad employee is a bad employee. Too much work is too much work, too little work is too little work. Being overworked and undervalued, we can all relate. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. And when you strip away all of the nonsense, you realize that your homie who worked for FedEx, or your homie who works at this agency, or doesn't matter, your friend who does music, y'all all have the exact same problems,
Wow.
you know?
Word.
And getting down to that is something that takes time and age, and reducing your ego to say, all right, I may have thought he's someplace that I wanted to be, but we're actually at the same place.
Word.
We just arrived there different ways. But I got a family, you got a family.
Yeah.
I got worries, you got worries. I got deadlines, you got deadlines. I got people who I'm working with who I can't stand, but I can't tell them that yet. Like, it's the same.
I am very close to telling some of the people I work with I can't see. Matter of fact, I think they know. I haven't been able to hide my expressions very well.
Listen, I wonder sometimes if they know too. You wonder if you're just like, no, I'm
They
projecting.
know.
They don't know. They probably don't even know I'm mad.
With you, I don't
Like,
think they know. I think
you don't think
I
so?
don't think so, man. I think you're really good at hiding your expressions. I am terrible at it. Like I've been terrible, and I used to. The worst part is I thought I was good at it. That's the part that makes it worse. But
Got you. Got you. Got
we
you.
have been talking for. So the show's technically ended. I mean, we're still online, but you mind if I hold you for 5 more minutes? I know you don't use it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Come on, man.
Um, Word up. Let's get into the record, directly. All right.
Yeah.
So from start to finish, it's the Oculus experience during this COVID-19 is what it sounds like to me. So I'm
Absolutely.
assuming all the songs were written within this since March or whenever this happened.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
You come off tour, you write, you come off tour. This all lands again. We're going back to the beginning of the conversation. You start writing
Yeah.
a record. What is happening in the world around you in New York? I don't like when interviewers do too much talking. I feel like I already have, but I do have to tell a quick story. I'm on the
Yeah.
phone with you, and there's a siren blaring in the background for 8 minutes straight. I'm like, what is happening in New York right now? You like, it's chaos in New York, right? Like, what is
All right.
happening in the world around you?
That's perfect. You know what that siren was?
What was that?
That siren was an ambulance, and no one was moving out of its way. That's why it was just behind me. Now, that is a metaphor for New York City during the pandemic. Nobody cares.
Wow. It's just
Nobody cares. Like that day, you heard an ambulance in traffic for 8 minutes behind someone on a bike that I was going faster than the ambulance because no one moved out of the way.
I would like. First of all, how is he hearing anything that I'm saying? That's part one. So you would just to be comfortable in this chaos or able to function in this chaos. But we've had conversations about the neighborhood and the changing of the neighborhood. You wrote a song
Yeah,
called Gentrification years ago that foreshadowed a
yeah,
lot of this, at least in
yeah,
DC. Um,
yeah.
and what are you seeing? Are you seeing these things come to fruition? Is the world around these neighborhoods changing? You're in Brooklyn. What are you seeing?
I came home from Bangkok on March 9th, and it was the last show that I was doing in 2020. And the only reason I was in Bangkok is because my Asian booking agent, uh, my Asia booking agent said 5 festivals have had their headliners drop out. You want to come collect a quick bag because they're all scared to come out of here because of this pandemic. You'll get their fee and you won't even have to do the whole set.
Wow.
I was like, 5 shows? He's like, yeah, Manila, Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Bangkok. I think I named all of them. I'm not sure if I named all of them. I was like, yeah, I'm out. He's like, you sure you ain't got a problem? I was like, bro, book the tickets. I'm good. I'm going. Right? One by one, all the shows canceled except for Bangkok.
Wow.
And it was still enough. It was still worth it for me to fly around the world to do that one show and come home.
Word.
So it was when I was over there, I felt like, oh, this isn't a big deal. You wear a mask. Everybody's got their doors propped open. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. People are practicing social distancing. Oh, this is fine. Then I get to the airport in Bangkok to return back to New York. That's when I started getting scared.
Really?
Because I was around foreigners who were returning home. And the foreigners in Thailand weren't adhering to anything. Wow. And I said, oh my God, all these people are coughing. Nobody's wearing a mask. They're sneezing into their arms. People look sick. And I'm listening. I'm like, all right, they're in Italian, French, English. I'm like, American, Canadian. Like, they're just going to go home. They're wilding, right? So I'm like, just mask on, whole trip home. I get to JFK. I walk out. Nothing. Welcome to New York. Welcome back. Nothing. No scans. No questions. I just came from Asia on a plane. Nothing. And I said, oh my God, this is about to be bad.
Wow. The foreshadowing of that had, wow.
Yeah. So what's changed in New York? What's changed in cities across America pre-COVID, post? Well, nothing. Gentrification is still happening everywhere. Because wherever there's places where buildings are dilapidated, someone can come in and renovate them and upcharge for them.
Yeah.
What I've noticed since the pandemic broke out is it's exacerbated the process. It's sped it up. So every first of the month, or every 30th, 31st of the month, you see tons and tons of furniture and trash on the sidewalk because someone's leaving their apartment. And you look out your window, and I walk from my house to studio. So I have a 15-minute walk every day.
Right.
So I'm walking through Bed-Stuy on a daily basis, and Black family moves out, or working class family. And I'm gonna even tell you this: white or Black, even non-Black people who've moved into a majority Black neighborhood such as Bed-Stuy. You predominantly got a lot of white people of other ethnicities and races. They're bartenders. They are freelancers, etc. Anybody in that level, if you're Black, if you're in the servant industry, if you're in between jobs, on the 30th, all your stuff is outside on the sidewalk. And you now join the line of the 40 million plus Americans who are unemployed.
Talk about it.
But you would think that there would be vacancies, right?
Right.
But on the first, there's a U-Haul truck that pulls up and somebody's moving in almost immediately. Yeah. You know that period where they're supposed to repaint the place? That's not even happening. I'm talking people are moving in immediately. So that means the person moving in is clearly making 80 grand or more by themselves, clearly already has a job where they can work from home. So you mean to tell me with every month that this goes on, by the time this is done, Bedford-Stuyvesant will be full of people who make 80 to 100 grand or more and have jobs where they can work from home. That process would have taken years to happen.
Yep. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, there's no shortage on people moving in. That's the crazy part.
My man earlier said, in order to get through this interview, just say true after everything you say. True. And I think he was right. I think I could have just done this, and I could have asked a question and just been like, yo, true. accurate. No, I'm noticing that too, Odd. I'm noticing that there are, again, you mentioned 40 million unemployed Americans. But there's another side to this. There are people that are actually making out pretty well in this.
100%.
Because, you're not doing things every day that you would do at work. You're not spending a lot of money on, food and gas and things of that nature. You're at the house. You're at the house. You know what I mean? Eating your own groceries. It's a ton of actual money not going out. So a lot of people actually are saving and or carrying a lot of money at this point in time. So it's interesting that you note that those same people are now moving into Bedford-Stuyvesant, and they're moving into, Los Angeles, parts of Los Angeles and East Los Angeles that are moving others out. So, man, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually what I'm noticing happening on this side of town too. Although I am in the suburbs, I do want to make that clear, but I know the city well, so you know what I'm saying. I'm watching that happen.
No, I mean, we all, it's a fluidity, and I'm shocked at how fast it's happening, how quick it's happening. Prices aren't dropping.
Nope.
I contemplated. So I'm trying to buy a house right now.
Where?
And I've been house hunting. I'm hunting for something specific, a 4-unit brownstone, and I found a couple that I like. And the plan is to live in 1 unit and rent out the other 3, and then it pays for itself. And then within a year, move out of it, and then I'll get a primary residence.
Where?
A residence. And prices haven't dropped yet on these houses.
You looking in New York? Or are you looking back home?
I'm looking in New York. No. I mean, I'm looking in New York because this is an investment property.
Okay, word.
So what I'm buying is literally it will pay for my life. It's a retirement, whether I sell it in 30 years or if buying in New York means you can live off the rent that your place makes.
Right.
We can get into specifics. We're talking 3-4 unit brownstone. Each unit's pulling no less than $3,000 a month.
Word.
Yep. So depending on how much you put down, you get a really, really low mortgage. This thing is paying for itself, and you're floating around the world not giving a fuck about what nobody has to say to you. And that's my ultimate goal, is to make enough money where I can be my true self.
Yeah.
So
then people will clearly know when you don't like them and when you don't.
Oh, 100%. They will clearly know. They will know a reckoning is coming, bro.
Word.
But no, the prices aren't dropping is my point. Like they said, Corona was possible. Hey, it's not dropping.
They're not. They're not. I am a homeowner. They are not.
Right.
Suffice to say, I'm pretty happy that they aren't. But
right.
Word, man. I don't want to hold you too much longer, man. I will mention that you have a love for coffee I do not have. Same as my man Propaganda. I told you I'd mention this on the show.
I'm sorry to hear that. What's up with Prop though? Big up Prop, man.
Yeah,
what happened to you? How did I fail you?
Hey, dude, I couldn't do it. But I was introduced to several things, and I thought about getting into story time on this interview, but I kind of refuse.
Shame on you, bro. We should have went there, bro. This is a 2-hour segment, bro.
Yeah, we have to have an extended story time edition. I wanted to talk about the record and where you've been or if people thought you left, where you've been for 3 years, which so much music has come out, whatever.
That's all good. Yeah.
I'm in Target. I sent that to you, right? I put that on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm in Target and I'm going, yo, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I know. Is that Oddisee? Like, all right, cool. Shopping.
Remember that whole thing about doing music licensing now?
Yes.
Yes. You ain't going to be in Target. You go to Target, Modell's, Victoria's Secret, Starbucks.
Yeah, because I was going to say, 5 days later, I was in Starbucks. It was like.
Yeah.
All right.
Chipotle. There's a couple more. Like, come on, man. Yeah.
I'm so happy and so proud. I'll be like, yo, that's my dude.
Yeah, that moment with Will Ferrell and Elf. I know him.
For real. I got pictures. We was on tour. Like, I know I really know him.
Meanwhile, the dude's just like, do you want white rice or brown rice?
For real. Oh, for real? Word?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, keep this line moving. I try not to say it too much because it's like, yo, can you, hook me up? I'm like, dude.
Bro, I'm shocked, man, because on my end, don't nobody call me.
Oh, man.
Seriously, yeah.
I'm just going to say during this interview, again, get at me about this, not Odd. Like, yo, if you don't know me personally, stop doing that. I'm just saying, if you don't know me personally, stop doing it. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. You know me, though. You know how it goes. Like,
You get a pass because your shirt says Maryland, so it's all
it
good.
does not say Maryland. It says melanin,
I
part
told you
one.
that's the same
It
thing.
is
That's
not
the
the same
same thing.
thing. No matter how you spin it, I understand PG County and where you're from. I understand. But no,
It's fine. It's
nah,
fine.
it's not happening.
All right, fine. All
All
right.
right, man. Well, I really appreciate you spending your Saturday, man. I know, saying your time is important. You the
I'm
homie
good,
all
bro.
day. We got stories upon stories that we could actually get into, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna conclude this with a thank you. I do want to make sure I say to Dennis, the Clippers are trash, so you can make sure you tell your bass player that that's a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. Let me holler at him on his new podcast about sports. Like, just call
Oh, he
in
has a
and just
sports program.
agitate
Yeah,
him.
I'm gonna do
He
that.
does.
He
He
needs
does.
he needs to. I need to know where that is and where to call in to make sure.
I will send you the link, and my work is done. I just watch it all burn. That's it. Yeah.
Word up, man. iCure available now on all outlets. That's Apple, that's Google, that's Bandcamp. Where would you prefer people go? Just out of curiosity.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all. Doesn't
I
matter at
get
all.
paid from all of it. It doesn't matter.
All right. So y'all would check him.
Honestly, yeah, just anywhere you want. Anywhere you want. Seriously, it don't matter to me.
Word up. All right. Well, the Spotify link is moving around. Please check out iCure and anything else he dropped. If you're not familiar with Oddisee, you got a lot of catching up to do. It's a ton of music out there. Thank you, Odd. I appreciate you, brother. We'll talk again for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Peace, bro.
Peace, man. Word up, yo. Thank y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. This was a very special interview for me. That's a very good friend of mine, Oddisee. Please make sure you check the replay of this interview on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TrekLifeMusic. This has been another episode of the Family Room, man. We will see y'all next week. I think I'm gonna do a roundtable next week. I think y'all got to get to know the homie Suge real quick. Shout out to B Stang in the chat. Shout out to my man Mike Richter. What's going on, brother? What's happening? Jay Broski, Abloon, Mr. Suge. What up? What up? That's the homeboy all day. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. I'm actually not gonna raid any unless what's up, Stubbs? What's going on? Unless B Stang can let me know, or anybody can let me know who to raid while I do these. While I pay these bills real quick. Make sure you jump into snapbacklive.com/chief and use the code snapback. Well, why would you do that? Well, that's because you get your Chief Botanicals, man. That's what you get when you do that. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you jump in snapbacklive.com/chief and you can use the code snapback to get a discount on your Chief Botanicals. With all that being said, man, we out of here like Stubbs. Did you sleep at all? Word up. With all that being said, man, we out of here like last year. We gonna catch y'all next time. And on the count of 3, we say peace. 1, 2, 3. Peace. I will see y'all next Saturday, man. And we out. Later.